Hey, hey, welcome to Fit for Life, Fit for God class. Today we are going to be talking about my thoughts affect / what does our thoughts affect? Our thoughts affect my walk, my worth, my words, my witness, and my worship. It affects all of this. So it affects your walk, your worth, your words, your witness, and your worship as well. It affects all of ours. And this is 5 points that we're going to be talking about today. And the verse we're going to be referring to is from 2 Corinthians 10:5, and it says, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. We must cast down those ungodly negative imaginations. How many times have we had them situations that bring them ungodly thoughts into our ways, and it trips up our walk? It tries to take and make us stumble and fall, and our worth becomes very low. Our self-esteem becomes low when things don't happen like we expect. Maybe it's your weight challenge, and maybe it's not happening as you want it to happen, or maybe your walk with Christ isn't seeming to be the walk that you really feel that the place that you want to be right now. And our thoughts take over, and then thoughts take and start to twist up our walk and our worth. And then what happens is our words that we start speaking become negative. They become unfruitful. They become to the point where our words start pulling us down even more. And then our lives as a witness becomes a very unhealthy witness. We aren't showing the example that we need to show. And it is all shown through when worship comes. It's like we don't want to worship anymore. But God wants to take and switch you up. And He wants us to dismiss and denounce them high things and them thoughts that exalt themselves against the knowledge of our God. He wants us to take and rip them down. So we say, how can we do that? Well, in our walk, we can walk over them situations instead of letting them fall. And you might say, well, how can I do that? By taking on courage with God. God can take and help you. Proverbs 3:5 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean onto your own understanding. We can't lean on our own understanding. When we start leaning on our own understanding, we will fall. We will fail. Our worth, maybe your worth, maybe you feel like you're just not at that place of value that you want to be, or maybe, there's been a situation that comes up, or maybe people push you down. Don't worry about that, because God's made you into His image. And so start talking positive. Put them positive words. Put them positive nuggets in yourself that you can make it. You can do this. Your worth is what brings you to what words come out of your mouth. And don't we want to use words of exhortation? We want to encourage others. We want to be a light versus, we want to lighten a room instead of darken a room. And our words can bring that. It can bring it within a conversation. The other day, I was talking to somebody, and the words they started saying, I was like, oh no, because they were not words of that enlightened anything that was surrounding us. So we have to be careful about our words and our witness. And the witness, at the grocery store, with your coworkers, in your home, anywhere you are, your life is an example of who you are. And don't you want to be a light of Jesus? And the other day, I have to say that I was not being a good witness. And I was at the pharmacy getting my medicine. And the girl, I just got really upset with her because the pharmacist, and it had been a long time and they still didn't have my medicine ready. And I was tired. I wasn't feeling well. And I was like, well, I need to get home and get to bed, and you don't have my medicine, And she was like, well, I'm sorry, we've been busy, blah, blah, blah. Well, then, so when I went to go get my medicine, of course, I apologized. And I was like, I am so, so sorry. And she said, it's okay. You don't feel well. I said, I know, but that doesn't give me the right to act that way to you. So we have to be careful of how we speak to others, because we never know how that person's day's been. And like the pharmacist, her day had been horrible. She had had one customer after another, and I'm sure there was some just like me. And so we have to be careful, even when we're not feeling well, that our words and how we speak to others, it will be a good witness of who we are in our worship. And even in the midst of storms in your life, you have to worship God. And there's going to be times where you're not going to feel like worshiping Him, but you got to still worship Him. And I'm reminded of the Jericho walls, and they had marched around them walls, and they were told to play the instruments. And when they did, the walls would come down. And they had to be obedient to what God told them to do. And we have to be obedient to what God tells us to do. And so many times, in life, we happen to, maybe, for example, you have no job. And you cry out to God, God, give me that job. I need that job. And you get the job. You get a good job. You're happy for a minute, and you're giving Him your worship. You're praising Him, and your life has changed. But as the progress happens, you get the good job, then things start coming back, and we start getting used to it. We start adapting to it. Then we know what happens. Our thoughts start changing, and we start getting back into the old mindset. We have to be careful. Or maybe you prayed, Lord, let me lose that weight. Let me lose that weight. But you lose, if you help me lose this weight, I'll be a different person, but you're still grouchy. Or else you want to be married, you want to have that perfect life, or you want to have, and then what happens? You get married, and then you're still grouchy. You have to learn to love you as you, and let your thoughts come into process of what God wants. And this is how we will grow in God, is when we take and transform our walk, our worth, our words, our witness, and our worship into His ways and not our ways. So anyway, I want you to remember to trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean unto your own understanding. And remember that God has a plan for you. He has something for you in your life. And don't let Satan take your thought patterns and make you feel, I can't do this. I feel worthless, and let them words, yucky words, come out of your mouth. But instead, say, I can walk this walk because God can help me walk it. My worth is valuable because God created me into His image, and my words are going to edify God to the best of my ability. And I want to, Lord, be a witness unto you more than anything. And I want my worship to honor you. And when we do that, we will see God do something different in our lives. I love you guys. I hope you have a great day. And remember that your thoughts affect you. So be careful of what you put in your mindset. I'll see you next week. Bye.